An update on the major scandal out of Ottawa this week. Justin Trudeau's top aides caught skimming hundreds of thousands of dollars in padded expense claims. First, a quick recap. On Wednesday night, the shocking secret was revealed. Gerald Butts, Trudeau's best friend since university, had billed Canadian taxpayers $127,000 to move from Toronto to Ottawa to work for Trudeau as his senior advisor. $127,000 just to move a few hours down Highway 401. It's in the same province. There are Canadians whose entire houses cost barely $127,000. What a pig. You know, you can literally buy an around-the-world cruise for a family for $127,000. That's what Butts charged Canadians to move them from Toronto to Ottawa. Sorry, that's crooked. It's crooked. Well, we put out a video first thing the next morning and emailed it to thousands of concerned Canadians who signed the petition and agreed to help us fund a billboard for Ottawa demanding that Butts and another senior staffer, Katie Telford, pay the money back. It was huge. People were finally sick of Trudeau Liberals living high off the hog while working Canadians have a tough go of it. Hours after our petition was launched, the Liberals switched gears. Instead of trying to spin that it was all fine, they realized that it just wouldn't work this time. They don't have the same Teflon, these staffers, that Trudeau himself has when he hires his nannies at taxpayers' expense or flies his in-laws around on a private jet. So these staffers decided to cut their losses. And the Toronto Star put them on the cover of the newspaper saying they're so sorry. The Star was thrilled to be done with it. They said, sorry, move on, people, nothing to see here. And same with the rest of the media. Here's the government journalists at the CBC. Here's their actual headline. Expenses 101. Liberals get painful lesson in perception versus reality. They may all be legitimate expenses, but it's going to be hard for the government to legitimize them. In other words, there's no problem here. It's all fine. If you think there's a problem, you're just perceiving things wrong. Your eyes are lying to you. There's nothing wrong with $127,000 to move from Toronto to Ottawa. No, nothing at all. Here's the CBC's Chris Hall, who wrote, Butts and Telford got it right. They got it right, you ungrateful taxpayers. They got it right, so shut up. Here's Althea Raj. That's her smiling for a selfie with Justin Trudeau. And here's Althea Raj, buddies with Trudeau, coming to his aid, as any friend would do. Gerald Butts and Katie Telford raised the bar on transparency here. They say they're sorry. They raised the bar, people. This is better moral behavior than the Tories. It's better. They raised the bar by doing this, yeah. And Gerald Butts himself put out a statement that said sorry on Facebook. Let me quote a little bit. He said, Katie and I feel like we owe people an explanation after the news stories involving our families over the last couple of days. Yeah, no, Jerry, it's got nothing to do with your families. It's you who pigged out. Stop dragging your family into this for sympathy to pretend your critics are being personal about it. You padded your expenses. Leave your wife and kids out of it, you slime ball. But here's the money quote. Butts says everything he did was by the book. Everything was fine. This policy, giving him $127,000, it's been around for decades. No one's done it before, but it's been around for decades. But then try to make sense of this. Here's what he put out on Facebook. He said, as this process relates to us, we were eligible to be reimbursed for a bunch of costs that we don't feel comfortable about. While the rules were clear and we followed them, we both know that's not always enough. Hang on. You were the first people in history to take that much money to move. It's literally 5 times more money than would be normal. So you're pretending it's fine and legal and normal, and you did it, and you asked for the money, and you cashed the check, and you kept this all hidden, you kept it a secret until it was finally blown up in the newspapers. And only now you're saying you don't feel comfortable about it? Comfortable about what? About taking the money? Or about being revealed to have taken the money? You sure slept soundly for the past year with the money in your bank account, but look at the defiance there. We followed the rules. We're fine. Then Gerald Butts shows just how much he took and what for. Take a look at this. Moving logistics, $14,636. That's what normal people would call a moving van. And that's how much he should be paid for the move. But look at the rest of it. Real estate commission, fees, and employer taxes, $47,000. Why should taxpayers pay for that? That was included in the sales price that he got for his house. Why should taxpayers pay that? Personalized cash payout and incidentals. That's just code for making the taxpayer pay for every nickel and dime that couldn't fit into other categories. Just mooching. Cup of coffee here, tank of gas there. 20 grand. Look at this next one. Land transfer tax, legal fees and insurance, 25 grand. Again, why should taxpayers pay for that? Butts made a $640,000 profit selling his house. Why should we pay his legal bills and taxes when he sold his house for $1 million? Temporary rental lodging apartment, 18 grand. So he got both a housing allowance to move and an apartment covered? That must be nice, eh? Administrative fees, $468. Really? So he hired someone to call the mover and he paid, and we paid for that. Travel, $273. Yeah, that's fair. So $273 for travel down the 401 and 14 grand for the moving truck. The rest is a scam. 127 grand. Butts says it's all fine though. But just to take the pressure off, Butts is going to give back the personal cash slush fund line item and the land transfer tax line item. But look at the wiggle words there. Quote, he also decided it was unreasonable to be reimbursed for the land transfer tax associated with the cost of his new home over and above what would have been the cost of the tax on a home in the average house price in Ottawa for 2016. What's all that legal duck speak? So exactly how much money will he pay back from that? Five grand maybe? He still hasn't even told us. So maybe he's paying back grand total 25 grand. Let's call it 27 grand. So he's still keeping 100 grand for the move. If he does say so himself. And that's the thing here. You have to take his word for all of this. Actually, you don't even have to take his word. He hasn't given you the word. He hasn't told you how much he's paying back exactly, has he? He's still probably pocketing around 100 grand for a move down the highway in the same province. We see that his moving truck was only 14 grand. The rest is gravy, Justin Trudeau style. No independent review here, no audit, no neutral civil servant to review it, no copies of receipts published, no itemization of what he tried to get away with until he was outed. But he's so sorry, the Toronto Star says. Yeah, sorry for being uncovered. Not sorry enough to give back any more than 25 or 27 grand. Not sorry enough to show what he tried to get away with, to show the receipts. And Justin Trudeau, silence. No call for a review, no disclosure. If you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar, well, you just have to put one of the cookies back and say sorry, and no problem. You know, Mike Duffy put through a year-long trial where everything was out in the open, even his personal diary, every receipt. But here, you'll just have to take Gerald Butts' word for it. Oh, and that of the loving media party. He's the most ethical man in Canadian history. Just ask Althea Raj or the CBC. Yeah, no, he's not. Gerald Butts is crooked. He padded his expenses. He got caught. He hasn't come clean, and no one has made him come clean. We haven't seen his receipts. We haven't seen his emails. We haven't seen whether or not civil servants objected. We just have Gerald Butts investigating Gerald Butts and saying what Gerald Butts will do. Sorry, that's Banana Republic stuff. Let the man keep the cost of his moving van and his plane ticket. Yeah, pay the rest of the money back. Butts' self-serving Facebook page was enough to convince the CBC. Oh, yeah, that and their $1.2 billion a year from Trudeau. It's not enough to convince us. We're still adamant that Butts repay the rest of his padded expenses. We're still aiming for 127,000 signatures on our petition, and we're still going to take out a billboard in Ottawa demanding that Butts repay his cash. You tell me. Are you satisfied with Gerald Butts investigating himself and exonerating himself? Are you satisfied with him taking, I don't know, $100,000 of your money instead of $127,000 that he tried to get away with? Do you actually believe he's sorry? Or do you believe he's only sorry he got caught and that he's only giving back the minimum he thinks he needs to get away with this in the media party? Do you believe he has to pay it all back and have an independent review instead? That's my point of view. Forward this video to your friends. Show them the truth about this non-apology and non-repayment and non-disclosure. Ask them to sign the petition and help us put up our billboard in Ottawa, shaming Gerald Butts into doing the right thing. Click here now or visit paythemoneyback.ca. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.